Good evening, people. Welcome to BNR. Welcome to Red Zone. It's myself, Asim, Gene, and the Chip. It feels like it's been a while. I don't know why, but we did go live about 5-6 days ago. Gene has since then has been chilling in Amsterdam, was it?
Chilling, look at him chilling.
Oh, working.
District.
Toba.
We know what goes down in Amsterdam. Let's just let's stop.
That is just bad
You want
news.
to go and see Jordan Henderson?
Listen, he's our captain, fantastic. Leave him alone, all right?
Avi's been hosting events. He's been sending me videos of like, what was it? Are they like corporate events where you had a nice little buffet going on for your clients? We look nice.
It's been a busy, it's been a busy 2 weeks at work, but good to be back. Was good to be back.
Some of the stuff
Sarib, obviously. Sarib's been over the moon. His teams are winning. You know, Arsenal 5-1. We beat West Ham 5-1. They get a late winner yesterday. We scraped past Wolves. So Sarib is happy in both camps. Let's just say that.
Well, he's missing tonight. He did say he's touch and go, but no, he might join us. Let's see how he does for the rest of the night. But it felt edgy. It felt nervy at times. I watched it again, lads. It felt a lot more nervy and edgy at the ground, and I don't know why. You don't always get that. Well, generally you do, because if someone goes down the line and it's 10 yards away from the box, you think it's a goal. But I felt a lot calmer when I watched it. But when you rang me straight after the game, Sheen, you said that wasn't good. I didn't think it was good, but you have to give a lot of credit to Wolves. But let's start with the team. There's a lot of talk about Gakpo getting a chance, but you've always been Diaz. There was some talk about Curtis getting a chance over Szoboszlai. But I think that's Liverpool's best team. Would you agree?
Yeah, in terms of the lineup of Asim, that was the team that I would have gone with, especially with the team that played in midweek. That was definitely going to be you start with the teams with the players that have played this season, and generally speaking, we've got really, really good results. We've only lost one game in 6. Generally, we've only conceded 2 goals, scored a load of goals, but obviously before the game, we'd only conceded 1. I can understand why there was some calls for, Dom was probably having a miss this game, or a Gakpo starting, because Gakpo did well in midweek. So I can understand it, but you go with the best side. It was an away game. We've got a couple of tricky games coming up now with Wolves, Bologna. There's going to be games thick and fast, but in terms of the lineup, I was happy with the team, and I didn't want any changes. I wanted the same team to start.
Avi, same again, or did you expect a few changes?
Pretty much more of the same. Obviously, one of the talking points got to be Szoboszlai on tonight's show. I thought maybe Jones might have just done enough, especially in that second half against West Ham, but it wasn't to be. He went with the same 11, which is fine at the moment. Which is fine. I think he's managing the squad well. Well, the coaches are, and Salah. I think the squad is being nicely managed. I like the little cameo from Salah against West Ham. I'm all for the top players coming on for a little 15-20 minute run out. So all in all, happy with the West Ham game. Sorry, I wasn't on the show, so I couldn't comment on that. But a good game against West Ham, and then yesterday it was it wasn't nervy at all. As in for me in the last 10-15, I did tweet about time management so much better than previous games. Last season under Klopp, I think we might have conceded a late one. But yesterday, last 10-15 minutes going into stoppage time, we didn't see any clear-cut chances from Wolves. They didn't really carve us open, whereas previous seasons, it's been the opposite. They've always had that 1-2 chance. Are they opposed or just narrowly wide, or it's gone in the opposition's favour.
Gene, you mentioned Avi mentions the squad is getting managed, and for the last couple of weeks, we have seen Slot make a few changes, and rightly so. But why the slow starts then? When I was watching the game, my phone was buzzing from the Twitter notifications that I've got from some big pages, and the common theme was "Wake up, Liverpool! Wake up, Liverpool!" Surely, if we've had the guys are fresh, why the slow starts? I just don't get it. Is it because Liverpool, you have to expect these things? Ali goes, look, we have to expect these sort of edgy and nervy games because we're in a title race. A win is a win. As long as you get the 3 points in these sort of games, you just get them and run out the ground. But we're after perfection, aren't we? Every week in, week out, and Liverpool are better at controlling games. But to be fair to Liverpool, the sort of bits I've seen of Wolves, they have been decent. Their points tally doesn't reflect, but a right reflection of their game. But Liverpool were slow out of the traps yesterday.
Yeah, we were slow, but look, obviously we City drew the game. Arsenal had just got a late winner. What was it on Liverpool's mind? Maybe, it's a game against Wolves, and I agree with you in terms of Wolves. Asim, if you look at the fixtures that they've played and the teams that they've played, they've had a tough 6 games, and most of the games have been pretty close. Bar that weird game against Chelsea where they conceded 5 or 6 goals. But look, it's still there, isn't it? Ideally, I think we don't want that. We want to be able to get a grips with the game pretty early, go out there, put a strong goal and a foot on the game, and take control. But you can't expect every game for this to happen. And the biggest thing for me, I think, if it is to happen, then at least don't concede chances. If we're not playing amazingly well, don't give the opposition a chance. Don't give the opposition a sniff. And we didn't really give Wolves a chance in the first half. I didn't really see Wolves being an attacking threat. It was mainly we went slightly not at the races. Our passing wasn't that great. There was some intricate passings. We were misplacing balls in the wrong areas in midfield. I just felt as though we were being slightly overrun in midfield. But Wolves didn't have the quality to really punish us up front. Maybe against a tougher opposition, they would have created a few chances, which might be a slight worry. But generally speaking, it isn't. Look, it's not an issue for me, if I'm honest with you. We've only conceded 2 goals this season. We're not going to play every single game well. The most important thing is when you go to a ground like Wolves, a team like that, you just want to get the points, get the win, and like you mentioned, get out the ground and say we move on. For me, the first 10 games are important in a sense of having points on the board. I don't really care about performances. Of course, you want amazing performances, but that's not the end goal here. The most important thing is racking up them points on that board. And after 10 games, we'll look at the table and say, okay, now we're ready to go. The players will be slightly different. The performances will come. It's a new manager. It will take a bit of time. I mentioned before the start of the season, I expected Liverpool to be top of the table after 7 games. When I looked at the fixtures after the first 7 games, I thought, okay, we have to be, if we have any title aspirations, we have to be top of the table. And after 6 games, I think we're top of the table. We should have maximum points. But we sat there with 1 loss and 5 wins, conceded 2, scored 10. Point ahead of Arsenal and 2 ahead of Arsenal, 1 ahead of City. We can't complain. We just got to move on. And I'm not a big fan of, yes, you want to dissect games to an extent, Asim, and people sometimes we overlook sometimes. We want to know every single detail. Mate, forget about it. We just want to win. Sometimes I don't care how we win. I just want points on the board, especially at the start, and that's exactly what we're doing right now.
Well, can we, or should we? We're here to dissect games here, are we? I think Arnie Slot was asked the question, wasn't he? That a win is a win. Are you happy with the performance here? And he goes, look, it was a tough win, but the performances generally reflect future results as well. So can we take something out of this game that we can? Should it impact future results?
No, I don't think so. We're still, as fans, we're still getting to grips with Arnie Slot as a character. As a manager of our football team, we're still getting used to this team. And it's not too dissimilar to Jurgen's team from last season. It will be when he's fully adjusted to this team, and he fully knows the characters in that first 11 and that squad of 25. And I think we've mentioned it before. I know we all go back and forth when Sarib's in the messages as well, especially in our WhatsApp group, which pops off every game. And I've always been the one that's believed. I think maybe Gene or Asim as well. And look, November, December time is when you really see this Liverpool team in its full flow.
Is that what you're reflecting upon? The business end of the season, Avi?
Oh, I was trying to look for why the Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid game had been.
So you're being unprofessional.
Yeah.
Okay, carry
on. I can be. I can afford to be on this channel. Okay. Thank you very much. Maybe not on previous channels. This one I can certainly be unprofessional.
I mean, now you've mentioned it. What's happened?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Going back to Liverpool, though, Asim, look, December, January. And look, at the moment, all we can do is put away teams in front of us. Of course, performances play a part. Man United away game, that's not going to happen with every opposition team away from home. Some will make it ugly, some will be very resolute. Gary O'Neill's a very good manager. Unfortunately,
sorry to interject.
Yeah.
Sorry to interject, but should we be concerned about the fact that Liverpool struggled against a low block in Nottingham Forest at Anfield yesterday? They didn't really aggressively. They started a bit aggressive. They had their trigger points in Konate and Robertson. You don't really press the likes of Van Dijk and Trent for obvious reasons. But the fact that they went into man-to-man in midfield and they stopped, they had Joe Gomez on Gravenberch, and then they had Lamina and Andre on our 2 10s. So they were man-to-man in midfield. Are you concerned that Liverpool couldn't play through the middle of the pitch? Because that is what central slot is all about, central progression. And we struggled yesterday to put the ball into midfield.
We did, Asim. I think one of the personnel in that midfield three for us is letting the ship down at the moment. I'm sure you'll give us all about his numbers, about how he's vital and pivotal to this team, but his quality of the ball is lacking. Dominic Szoboszlai, I think he is the one who's
supposed to be there. If the ball's not there, how is he to be blamed?
I said, but he's not doing anything with the ball either.
Okay,
his quality on the ball is a cause for concern. Harvey Elliott, you put Harvey Elliott in from 60 onwards yesterday. He creates that bit of ingenuity. He can pick out that pass. Szoboszlai's not even doing the simple things right at the moment, Asim. And I'll say it again, he wasn't brought in to be this running marathon man, running machine, and defensive work first and being the highest presser. And because of his press, it releases other facets in our game. No, he is a player who's got so much quality on the ball, but we've yet to see it. And last week, you came back with a rebuttal to say he's created the most chances. But I said, what about the quality of those chances that he's created? Which obviously goes deeper into the XGs and whatnot. Look, Andre, João Gomez, Lamina, they're three hardworking midfielders. I think Andre is a very tidy footballer. I can see why we were linked with him. He's a tough little rabbit, isn't it? He's quite tenacious. He's good in the tackle, keeps it nice and neat. João Gomez is a player that we've liked for quite a while. He's a hot prospect who will go on to bigger and better clubs probably next season. And then Mario Lamina, he's played for Juventus, Southampton. He knows the Premier League quite well. He's always an energetic individual. So look, they've got good footballers who can trouble us. Fortunately for them, they just haven't got the firepower on the flanks. They haven't got that Pedro Neto of last season. Although the player that did come on, the Portuguese Forbes, the winger, who's going left or right, did cause us some cause for concern. But on the whole, I thought first half, especially first 15, 20 minutes, I think in all games, even the United game, I think we're pacing ourselves really nicely. I don't think there's concern. I've never worried under Slot so far that, we're going to concede first. Under Klopp, that was on the weekly, wasn't it? Last season, we conceded, 23 times last season? It was always that worry we're going to concede first, and then we're overworking the legs again to get to equalize and then go for the winner. I think this season it does seem that there is a bit of patience and the temperament. That's what's changed for me in this Liverpool team at the moment. And I think first 15, 20, I think we're just figuring ourselves out. Maybe as the months go by, we'll probably get off the traps a lot quicker.
Yeah, Gene, let's stick with Szoboszlai because it's been the topic of conversation, whether it's on our BNR shows and Twitter today, that there's a lot of people, just like what Avi said, he's not good enough the ball. We bought him to provide output in those attacking advanced areas. We don't want him to be a glorified Jordan Henderson. But Avi said we don't want him to be the second striker and in the press. But that's what Arne Slot is putting him in that position. So that's not his fault. Ali mentions that Slot had to talk to him, had to tell him Sobo to fix up mid-game, ask him that says it all about him. But just to tell Ali, he also called Gravenberch. He also called McAllister around the 30th minute. So it's not just his fault, is it?
Asim, look, Szoboszlai is a bit of a weird one because we all know in terms of how good he is off the ball. There isn't many players in world football that can do what he does off the ball. He's on the ball this season, Asim, and if we're honest, I know you came with the start last week in terms of chance creation and in terms of what Avi was saying. I get it. I'm still gonna go with him and I'm still gonna trust him. Why? Because I gave Gadawin Nunes 2 years. Do you understand? We were willing to give it. Also, he had to prove me wrong that he was going to go out there and prove it. So we have to give Szoboszlai another year to see how good he's going to be. Off the ball, he's brilliant. I don't think we operate from what I've seen of Liverpool off the ball anywhere near as good as what you do if he's not playing. Number one, we have to get that straight because we will play a different way if Szoboszlai is not in this team. That's just the way it is. We can play. It's easy to say to us now, guys, if we had Harvey Elliott playing in that position, yes, because we're all thinking forward-minded players. I understand that in that position of a 10, that is primarily what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to bring attacking prowess to our play. I get that. But what his role in this team is completely different. We are expecting, I mean, you have to accept that what he does is off the ball is off the charts. The thing is, on the ball, Asim, and we can't sugarcoat this, he's been shy at times. It's just he loses the ball in too many instances where the thing with him is we know all three of us will sit here and say, has he got the talent? Yes. All three of us, we say, because we've seen it for Salzburg, we've seen it for his country, we've seen that he does have the talent to play these little intricate passes. He's a good passer of the ball. He's got these tools in his locker. But how we're going to unlock that, I don't really know, because with the amount of running that he's doing, his mindset in the way he's playing for Liverpool is slightly different because he's more of the in terms of setting the press, all that type of stuff. Is that hampering his play when he receives the ball? You mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it is. I'm on the thingy that, look, yes, he hasn't been great on the ball. I still want to give him some time. I just want to say, okay, give him another 3 or 4 games. And I think, in the next 3 or 4 games, when the big games come, we will appreciate Szoboszlai more in the bigger games than we do in the lesser games. Because in the lesser games, we're expecting a lot more creativity. In the bigger games, Asim, we're going to need the legs. We're going to need him to go up and down. And we will appreciate Szoboszlai, what he does more than. But on the ball, we need to see output, man. If you're in that 10 position, Asim, you have to produce the numbers.
But that's the thing. I don't think he's a 10.
That's the moment. It's all well.
I don't think he's a 10.
Just one second. It's all well giving an explanation of off the ball, what he does, and off the ball structure, and the way he said if he doesn't start, we'll miss him, this and that. But it's the simplest of passes that he has to make. It's a decision.
I accept that.
Which isn't very hard. Ask him, how many times have we been on a 4-2 occasion when we're attacking, or a 4-3, or a 5-on-4, 5-on-3? He's got the ball in the central positions. He's got options.
I've said this before, man. I know.
Salah, he can go Jota through the middle, or he can go Diaz. He picks out, more often than not, he picks out the wrong pass.
More often than not, he doesn't shoot.
A player of his
passing.
A player of his ilk should not be making simple mistakes. Sometimes we have no one around him. He's free of trouble with space. He's got 5 yards, and the ball comes to him, and he plays. He did a flick yesterday, which really peed me off. It was on the edge of the touchline.
Yeah, I saw it.
Trent's give it to him, and he does this sort of backflip, and he goes to the opposition, and they go on the counter attack second half. I'm like, what are you doing? That can easily be coached and trained.
A lack of confidence on the ball, because he's been such an integral part
of the player of his stature. The way he comes across, he fancies himself. You've seen him with interviews when Neymar peeped in his ear when he was playing against Hungary or Brazil, one of the friendlies, or Leipzig even. He goes, "Oh, you're going to score this penalty," and then he gave Neymar some. He's got that arrogance and that little ego about him, in the right way, but that hasn't been transferred on the pitch, because everything he's doing with the ball, it's going horrifically wrong. Dean Regan, big up to Dean Regan, one of our regulars on Twitter and stuff. Great guy. He says it right. His final ball yesterday was horrific.
It was. Look, I'm not gonna. We can't sugarcoat this. As in Szoboszlai, look, he has to make.
Curtis Jones last season, when he was fit, and the season before when he was fit and he had a run of games, he was one of our best pressers. So all this, his pressing is off the chart. There are players in that team that can come in and press just as well as him.
Come on, yeah, man.
You're telling me he can't? Curtis Jones last season, statistically, if someone wants to bring it up and tell me that,
listen, forget statistics. Yes, Jones improved his pressing prowess last season. Yeah, I can accept that. He improved. I can accept that. But with respect now, yeah, he's nowhere near the levels of press in terms of Szoboszlai, man. The way Szoboszlai guards our front four when we press. He sets the press. He tells the other three in a way, get closer, get tighter, go slide to the left, go slide. He's the one who sets everything. I've seen it with my own eyes, not just that one. Curtis Jones. Look, Curtis Jones. I backed Curtis Jones to start over Gravenberch at the start of the season. So, and I'll say it in front of the camera, I did. I thought, he would get the role over Gravenberch, and that's just the way it is. But we have to put a bit of context behind it. Yesterday's game, Avi, it wasn't just on what's his name, Dominic Szoboszlai for passing the ball wrong. Half of our team couldn't play the ball out. The players at the back, McAllister had an absolute shocking first half. Even at the back, Ibu, the amount of times his ball was cut out, we struggled. Yeah, in build-up yesterday, in terms of getting the ball out, we got caught so many times. Yes, they didn't create many chances from it, but it was a concern. So let's not just pick out one player who had bad. But I can accept that, the last 4 to 5 games, Dom hasn't been.
He needs a break. I think Bologna is a perfect opportunity to take him out, and I think it gives a bit of ammunition to change it around a little bit against Bologna.
Didn't he get a break in midweek against West Ham?
Yeah, but he needs another break then midweek. I would actually see what we look. I would say I would see what he looks like with Jones, perhaps in that midfield area with Gravenberch and Maka. I think we would see more fluidity. I think we would see better passes in our team. You saw Jones second half against West Ham, the 1-2s that he played. He was more in tune with McAllister in that 45 minutes than Szoboszlai has been with McAllister.
Bobby, we should caveat the thing the way with everything. With when you come off the bench, it's a lot easier because tired legs, there's a lot more space. Just like
Jones came on. What was the league game that he came on? And he was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, but it's easier. It's easier looking good.
Yeah, Forest game.
Easier looking good from the bench, isn't it? Generally speaking.
But Jones started on Wednesday.
No, I'm talking about the Wolves game. That substitution now we're making, Jones for Szoboszlai, was a ready-made, tailor-made substitution for a slot where Harvey Elliott comes in. If he gets 30 minutes or he starts in midweek games like the West Ham, Harvey Elliott
goals better than Szoboszlai did in that first 50-60 minutes.
Harvey Elliott is more of a natural 10 compared to Szoboszlai. He has
Harvey doesn't give you that way.
Yeah, he's decent in the counter press. He can trigger the press. He's intense. We can't cover space. And the fact in Szoboszlai's defense here, I've seen Gravenberch and McAllister put shifts in, but they don't give you intense runs. The intensity levels from Szoboszlai, the amount of attacks he stops is unbelievable. The amount of defensive transitions from the opposition that he slows down or stops is unbelievable. I think we have to caveat everything that if we didn't have the lack of legs in McAllister and Gravenberch, maybe he'd had a bit more license to express himself. Because he's become such an integral part of the ball that I just think sometimes he forgets about that he's a number 10 after all. But when we're building up this with 4-1 at the moment, we weren't putting the ball into midfield, and they allowed Wolves to get a bit higher, and we struggled. And like I was saying, is that they don't give, they let their triggers of press were on Szoboszlai, Robbo or Konate, and they weren't allowing the ball into midfield. And after 20-30 minutes, Slot gave up and put Trent into midfield in that right half space. When he does that, it puts a lot more onus on the likes of Konate with Van Dijk to split on the halfway line, and we go onto a more expansive setup. It gains control and it gets us up higher the pitch because the likes of Cunha are tracking Trent on the inside rather than in deep right back positions. So they can't squeeze us. But when that happens, you're playing in closer spaces. And when you have Szoboszlai in those really advanced 10 positions, I don't think, I've been saying it to you guys for a long time, he's not a Coutinho, he's not a Maddison like you saw today, connecting with the 9, running into the box.
Yeah, we know that.
He doesn't have that now, so he can't pop it off around the corner. He doesn't have that creativity. He's a guy, he's a box-to-box. Dare I say, he's more of a Jurgen Klopp number 8 rather than a possession-based army slot. But we have to give him credit. And in defense, we just don't have enough legs in midfield. We lack physicality. If you want to let him have the extra license, then go get a left back who is a lot more conservative, who can progress the ball, not just by running up and down. Look, caveat again, that Robertson has been decent, very decent with all the games that he's played in, generally speaking. But he's not a ball player where he's going to ping balls like someone like Colwill that you've seen in this thing, Calafiori from Arsenal, who's going to do that. But we just don't have that physicality, and the lack of legs means that he has to do so much running for his mates and you have to defend.
Okay,
him.
That doesn't deter
I'm with
from
Awi.
from the simple
Simple
things
things,
in football
yeah,
that he's
yeah.
not doing. You look at the chance
No,
he can get.
I admit that. I admit he's
gets
not being
yesterday.
good enough on the ball.
The chance he gets yesterday, the chance he gets yesterday. He's ball watching. He's not even looking at where the goalkeeper is.
Avi, that was
But
unlucky to an extent.
But he's not.
He should have finished. He should have finished there. He caught the ball
They showed two
really well.
They showed replays, and usually you'd say, "Oh, keeper had a blinder there."
That's gonna happen.
No,
99.
he just jumped, man. Look, he should have scored 90.
What can the forward do? But look at Szoboszlai. He's ball watching all the way until it hits his feet. He didn't even look at the goalkeeper's
He
position.
didn't need to because he knew where the goal. Look,
Avi,
90% of the
that's
time.
my
right in the middle.
That if you're gonna pin Szoboszlai's on the ball, deficiencies on that open goal, then I think you just like nitpicking here. Honestly, I admit that he needs to get better. There was one ball yesterday where Salah was running and he gave it too early. That's my problem. He doesn't have the composure.
I remember that. Yeah.
On the outside of the foot, that ball was on, but he gave it too early, and he could have carried it for an extra second or two and then given that ball because there's plenty of space in behind. I admit, I agree with you guys that I have, because when I didn't see this player a lot. Wiki, the likes of Wiki, you guys, and you watched the German league a lot more than me. You were raving about him, but the common thing that I was getting told about Szoboszlai was his on the ball and his shooting ability. The famous story in the articles written about his shoe size and how he strikes the ball because of them and all that sort of stuff. And some opposition fans liked him, but they called him a YouTube player. So from a YouTube player, if I'm not going to get the defensive, the irony of all of this is I'm getting the defensive side from this YouTube player, but I'm not getting the YouTube clips. So that's my concern. But I think there's a bit of lack of confidence in his play. If anything, with this 4-2-4 press, when we do win high turnovers, there should be a lot more options for him rather than attacking with three, Salah, Mane, and Firmino many times. I know we had the attacking fullbacks, but obviously, generally speaking, it was just in the channels and then working magic with those three. But we do have an extra man up there now. But I think because he's such an integral part of the press and off the ball duties, he's just sometimes forgot about his attacking traits, and it's up to him and Arne Slot to make sure we get the best out of him, and let's see how it goes. But the way he's working now, my biggest concern with Szoboszlai is how we're using him. If he's not managed, and if he gets managed like the sort of management he was dealt with last year, with all due respect, he's going to be goosed again by January. Mark my words.
I'll say even quicker than that. I'll say by mid-November, December time.
Yeah.
Look, Slot alluded to it as well. Look, he said he's a fantastic talent. He's done very well, but in that position, ideally, it was all about numbers. So look, the output needs to improve. And we can say that, maybe he's not getting into the positions, or his decision-making has been affected because of the work that he's doing, the pressing that he's stopping, and the attacks that he nullifies. But I don't know. I think something has to give, because we will need to see quality on the ball from Szoboszlai sooner rather than later.
Gene, there's plenty of comments about Salah and how piss poor he was, and we sometimes get accused that we don't talk enough about Salah.
Absolute bias on this channel. And he's my favorite. He's my favorite Liverpool player of all time, but I still give him stick.
Gene, I'm coming to you.
The king shall get some stick today.
What do you want? He had output yesterday, man. He got a goal. What do you want from the king?
I actually thought he was.
I'm joking, man.
I actually thought he was fine. No, the only thing I don't like him doing now is trying to think he's got the bet. He can go on the outside and outpace Ait Nuri. He did it last week against Kirkes. Was it Kirkes? Yeah, he was playing against Kirkes against Bournemouth, wasn't he? Don't go on the outside. That's not your game. And really? I tell you one thing he's improving on. He's fancying his right foot a lot more now this season.
But
he fancies it a lot more. He might not be the best.
You have to go on the outside, have you?
Granted, and he's got poor right foot, but he is fancying himself a lot more. But he's doing those. That game doesn't, and maybe because Trent's not going fully out on the right anymore, he's not doing the overlaps anymore. That he's going that way to create more space through the middle. I don't know, but I actually didn't think he was too bad yesterday.
I think he put a shift in yesterday. The amount of times that there's one back post header really late on the game. There was so many times he nicked the ball
on the edge of the corner as well. On our half yesterday, yeah.
He put a shift in yesterday, but again, we don't want our king putting the shift in. There was a few moments that he could have done it. He could have made the last pass a lot better, Gene. But
Yeah, there was that one to Jota, wasn't there, where he had to get it right, man. That was, I think it was at 1-0 or something. He played it with his
The
right
one
foot.
with Jones as
And
well. The Jones
Jones, sorry,
one,
sorry, Jones. It was to Jones.
Right,
It was a
wasn't it?
shocking. It was a shocking pass. And to be fair, I think he should have put that chance away. The one that he had, where it was practically an open goal. I know it was on his right foot, but Salah is good enough to put that away.
No, but that came out. That came out a bit harsh. That came out a bit harsh.
Yeah, but should have. Avi, look, this is your. It's yes, he can be sound. I can sound a bit harsh, but you expect Salah to score. Is Salah here, man? And I expect numbers from him. And yeah, he got his goal. I know it was a pen, but it's 2 games where he hasn't really been at the races. I know he had a decent game against West Ham when he came on, but in the league, that's 2 where he hasn't looked like the Salah that we've seen, especially at the start of the season. But I've got no issues with him. I will see Salah start on against Bologna, and Salah will score again against Bologna, and he will go again. That's Mohamed Salah for you. When you doubt him, he will come and turn the table around very, very quickly. And yes, and you know what? I actually agree with Sleepy Forest. Not agree with him in terms of his shooting power, Asim, this is a bit of. I don't agree with the first bit, but yeah, in terms of his shooting power. And me and Vicky were actually speaking about this because obviously me and Vicky watched the game together. Sometimes he just that little, when he cuts inside and curls it, it feels like it's a back pass at times. And before at the start in the first few years, he had the ability to proper whip it, have a whip to go and it'd go into the top corner. Now it doesn't. It feels like it's a bit of a back pass.
I think goalkeepers position themselves a lot better as well, Gene, knowing that he's going to try that.
We were talking top corner jobs, man.
First 2 years, everyone saw him hit those from the right wing and curl it in once he cuts inside. I think goalkeepers are positioning themselves a lot better as well.
You think so, Avi? When was the last time Salah? Now that Gene mentions this, when was the last time Salah even tried to lace a ball? What I mean is that Chelsea goal where he came from the touchline and laced it.
They do double up a lot more on him as well on that side as well. I think.
Sorry?
They do double up on him a lot on that side as well.
I'm talking about the technique, Avi. Lace it.
Well, I rather you can pay me to watch Hazard. You're not going to pay me to watch Salah. All this.
He never laces it, Asim. That's if you want the honest truth. I can't remember the last time he did one.
Yeah,
laced it. He had a lot, outside the box against Milan. Tway mentions it, where he was a bit unlucky. One with the right foot, one the other where he just bounced. But that was one where it bounced and he hit it, wasn't it?
The right foot.
Yeah. There was one with the left foot where he hit the
bar. Was
the
West Ham goal midweek not a slash with the lace?
West Ham, which one?
Because that was a bit of power in midweek in the cup. That wasn't a placement. That was a rash out.
It was a bit of a yeah, I can get it. But you know what I expect?
I mean, lace the ball. Not like where a ball drops and he laces it. That's instinctive.
You're talking about when he's got a little yard of space and hitting it.
That's from the floor where he's sort of standing up the fullback, comes inside and laces it, just like that goal against Chelsea in that 2-0. Was it 2-0? Yeah.
You don't score those goals.
No, it doesn't.
So he doesn't lace it. Can I just say he doesn't lace it? He doesn't come inside and curl it anymore. What does he do? How does he score his goals, boys?
He's got 4 and 6. He's got 4 and 6, and I'm not complaining. I do feel that, Asim, I want to come to you. He got 15 to 20 minutes against West Ham. Gets the full 90 plus yesterday. Is he another one that we've got to manage? And especially with Bologna at home this Wednesday, we can afford to drop him. I think Slot will have to show a bit of cojones here. But will he want to be dropped? That's the problem as well. And is Chiesa up to speed?
I don't think Chiesa's up to speed yet. I think there's a case of. I think I would probably if you start Salah, give him 60, whether it's 0-0 or doesn't matter what the score is. Give him 60 and then get the game won, and then hopefully if it's 2-3-0, then take him off. But 100%, we have to manage him, Avi. We have to manage him, and I think he just needs to take his own a little hit with his own ego this year. And I think the manager has proven that, where he will look, he won't look at the name. He'll look at the betterment for the team, and he'll make those decisions dependent upon that. So I would give him 60, and regardless of the result, make sure he's fresh enough for that 12:30 against Palace. I think even if we don't start him, just to sort of give you the other side of the argument, I still think we should have enough to beat Bologna at Anfield. I would be happy with either way, Avi, because I think even if I would obviously like to see Salah start all the time, but we have to manage him because I like with Trent, like the manager said, I want him to be fresh the business end of the season. And with Salah, there's many people think that he doesn't perform after January. So let's just put that to bed. He doesn't have African Nations Cup of this season, which is a massive boost to Liverpool. So let's see what happens. But if it's up to me, I'd give him 60 against Bologna.
Gina?
Look, if I'm honest, Asim, I think I would leave him on the bench.
Yeah, I get that.
If I'm honest, I would definitely go with Chiesa. I think we're good enough. Even we've got the squad, we have to start using him. And here we have got. You mentioned the early kickoff on Saturday. The game's on Wednesday. It's a 12:30 kickoff. And I just don't want to take any chances. We won the first game. We're good enough to beat Bologna with any of our front six. Our front six playing. So we've got a good enough squad. We've been loading our forwards. They've actually some of them are in decent form. Why not? We have to make sure that Salah stays fit. We can't we simply can't take any chances because we are in a title race, and I know it's only 6 games in, 7, whatever it is. I want to go and try and win this title, and if it means managing these players, I don't care if they. And I'm Salah's biggest fan, but you manage him this season. We have the biggest issue in previous seasons was that we didn't have a player good enough who can play in that position. Except Chiesa's just come in; he probably isn't up to speed. But why not do exactly what we did against West Ham? Give Chiesa the first 60, and if Salah needs to come on, Salah can come on. And yeah, look, I would do that more than anything else because Salah will come on with the 20 to go and he'll be like, you know what, I ain't leaving this pitch until I score, because that's just the way he is. Whenever he's come on, he scores whenever he comes on off the bench. I think that's the best thing to leave him on the bench against Bologna.
I've got to agree with Gene there, Asim. I think it's a perfect opportunity for Chiesa to really make his mark. Bologna are not the same team as last season. They've had a managerial change, the system change. Few players have left, Calafuri being one who's gone to Arsenal, obviously. I think in Anfield, under the lights, Wednesday, I think this scene is set for Chiesa to grab one and really get his career up and running. So give him maybe 60, 65, and then bring on Salah for the last 25, or even rotate, if you can, and maybe just save him for that Palace game, which is a dirty 12:30 game, isn't it?
Why did you mute me?
No, you muted yourself.
Oh, did I? There's been a few comments about trying different personnel, because when we were talking about Szoboszlai in the number 10 position, Sleepy Forest says try Salah in the 10. There was another one.
Chiesa maybe as an 8, as a deep lying, not deep lying, but in the 8 hybrid 10.
And there's one for Makker as well. The thing is, we'd have to change the way we press them.
Mancini for Italy tried it a few times as well with Chiesa as more as a 10, and then you had Locatelli behind him, and Pellegrini was that Pellegrini. He tried it a couple of times with Chiesa. Obviously not consistent, but I think his energy, and I think he's got speed, the touch. Obviously, we know the quality that he has on the ball. I think maybe there's a position for him there. Whilst Harvey Elliott's out, maybe rotate Chiesa. I think it's a possibility, Gene. You smirk, but I think it's a possibility that he could be there as a 10.
If we're going to play
as
that
a fourth attacker, as a 4-2-4.
I think Liverpool will probably go Gakpo more than Chiesa, man. Gakpo's played that position before. He's been slightly more of a 10. He's played that. We've seen him play with, especially with Jurgen Klopp. Be it he wasn't great in them, be it he wasn't great, but I think we'd probably see Gakpo if we were to play that 10, not Chiesa, man. And Chiesa, you mentioned Mancini. I hardly ever saw him play there. I probably might have missed the game because if anything, that's Barella's position. So it was difficult. It would have been hard to see Chiesa ever play in that sort of 10 man. He was always a winger.
I don't agree with any of those options, whether it's Gakpo or Chiesa. Although they can all, in their own little way, do a job. It's just the way that we press. That's why he's been putting on. If he thought Chiesa and the likes of Gakpo can do a job there, I think we would have seen it in little cameos over the last 6-7 games. I think that's why we're seeing Harvey Elliott. Obviously, he would have come on for Szoboszlai, and now we're seeing Curtis Jones. Is because how we're using that second striker. If we want that second striker to be such an integral part of the counter press, then you need someone like Harvey Elliott. You need someone like Curtis Jones to play. Chiesa might be doing little bits off the ball. He's a live wire, but I think his main strength is 1v1 on the wing. Gakpo, we've all talked about his off the ball awareness. If you want him to be half as good as Szoboszlai, I don't think he's in half as good. So I think there's the reason why we're seeing Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones, he's been doing all right as cameos, but I still don't think he's the long-term answer for Liverpool in that position, because on the ball, I don't like him on the right-hand side channel, half spaces. He's decent against receiving it back to goal, but I don't feel like he picks the pockets just like Szoboszlai doesn't. And then if you want Salah to be narrow and tuck in at times, which he does he go on the outside? No, he doesn't. That's where Szoboszlai's strength is as well. So I just don't see it Chiesa or Gakpo playing in that position, or McAllister as well.
Asim, I do want to talk about another player. I'll come back to you. Cody Gakpo. I thought it was another good cameo from him again yesterday. There's one of those options when there's one of the plays yesterday when he receives the ball, he tries to cross it for Trent. It was miles offside. I thought you should have taken it. The confidence that he has at the moment, I thought he should have taken it. But
we were saying that as well.
Why didn't he's knocking on that door. Cody Gakpo.
Yeah,
I think you know
there was one
chance right at the end. He gets the chance. He drags it, but he's actually looking for Trent. And
where Trent was offside.
Yeah, Trent was offside, and Gravenberch slips in Cody. I thought the confidence that he has, he should have hit it. But I was just talking in general that he's impressing every game. I know he's been there for a year and a half now, and this is a season, especially under a Dutch coach. But he's knocking on that door, even as a potential option to play up top against Bologna. I think he's an option, and I think we will see him start on Wednesday as well.
I mean, he looks leaner to me.
He does.
He looks quicker, sharper, and it looks as if he has lost.
He looks leaner.
Maybe a key too.
He looks leaner. Even I don't know. Maybe he has a new little what do you call it? A fade. Every week. You look a bit leaner when you have a bit fade, just like Avi knows. But look, I think there is definitely something about that. I think he knows he's come from the World Cup, Euros, sorry, and he's seen Liverpool sign Chiesa at the end of the window as well. The form of Diaz at the start of the season had put a lot of pressure on the front six attackers, and there's no coincidence why we're seeing the likes of Diaz up his game, the likes of Gakpo coming on, and the intensity. I like the intensity of Gakpo because his natural composure is as good as anyone in front of goal. His ball striking ability is as good as anyone at the club, especially from those left half spaces. So the thing that he needed to improve on in Arnie's slot side is hold width, ball aware, off the ball, spatial awareness, and put a shift in. And now he's been doing that. And the way he's been protecting the ball and where he just pivots and comes back inside and attacks the space, that has been really, really impressive. I think he did it to Kudus at midweek as well. It's become a bit of a feature for Cody Gakpo, and that's what I really like. And when he does have that intensity, he's hard to stop. I always didn't like Cody Gakpo in that half space where he just had one option where you come inside and shot, whether it's running into the fullback or from the standstill positions, because on his mind is all about shooting. But when I think he just thinks that it's about connecting play as well, that's where you start seeing a bit more of a dangerous Cody Gakpo. If he's thinking about connecting with people on the edge of the box, I think you see a lot better player. But this is what healthy competition brings, Avi, where players start improving themselves and just fine-tuning those small details. And credit to the manager as well. Every player that comes out in the media, they're talking about personal 1v1 meetings. You heard Trent talking about it last week as well, how every player has been enjoying the coaching sessions on the field and in office 1v1 situations as well. Because, and I love the manager talking openly in the media. He was talking about Trent being a great player, but he was talking about his switches off. He was talking about his concentration levels. So maybe it's the Dutch culture that they're a lot more open compared to the English. But I'm liking it that where if he needs to call out a player in the public in a little joking, subtle way at times as well, he's doing that because the players are watching. They think, okay, if the manager's saying this in public, he really means it, even if he's saying it in a little joking manner. But that's what healthy competition brings. We've got 6. I'm not going to call them world class, but the collective, they're definitely world class, and they bring so many options to Liverpool. And look, we wouldn't even not mention Darwin Núñez in this conversation. He decided to get ill. There's a rumor about a virus in the Wolves camp, but Núñez decided to pick it up. But all those 6, Avi, they bring so much assets and the different facets to their Liverpool's quality up top. So I don't know. I think I've ended up waffling. I don't even know what the question was, but here we are.
You answered it brilliant. It's got about Gakpo and talking about options. Talking about another one, Gene, he scored grab 2 on midweek yesterday, kind of on the peripheral, but I liked Jota yesterday. I actually liked him yesterday. It wasn't his cleanest of games, and he didn't really get chances, but look, he picks out a great cross. You know, that's been a long time we've seen Jota go on the byline and, took the player on. I don't know who it was on that side. Takes the player on, cross it with the left. Konate scores, gets us going, and then he wins the all-decisive penalty as well for Salah to convert. But I thought, I kind of liked that Jota performance yesterday. Neat and tidy, wasn't spectacular, didn't really get chances, but he still was effective. And sometimes when it wasn't Diaz's day yesterday, Salah's, some people were saying he was off yesterday, we still needed another forward to chip in. And he chipped in more ways than one, didn't he?
Yeah, look, in terms of Jota, I was pleased in terms of that left foot cross, weaker foot, brilliant cross for the goal. He got us a pen. I think in the first half, I had to go him a few times. I felt he could have done a lot better in terms of his hold-up play. I know that's not his I know his hold-up isn't great, but I still expected him to hold the ball slightly better than he did in the first half. But generally speaking, Avi, I thought in the second half he got a lot better. We can't really expect too much from Jota. We know what he is. He's a fox in the box. He's going to get you goals. And yesterday he got the vital penalty and got an assist. In midweek he got us a couple of goals as well. So look, I'm happy with this performance. He's our number 9. He will start most games if he is fit. Yes, we will manage him. I think I think people mentioned Núñez got having that not injury, having that obviously he didn't start because he was ill, sort of thing, and he probably made.
Bob mentioned there was a rumor that Darwin's good friend died. Hope that rumor isn't true.
Yeah, look, we obviously don't know if that's true or not, but look, I think that made it slightly easier. Look, Jota would have started anyway, but maybe would have come off slightly earlier than before. But look, yesterday's performance, decent performance. I wouldn't call it was really, really good. I thought it was decent. He was vital in terms of getting us the goals and his involvement in them. But still, there are instances where he still needs to improve his hold-up play a bit better. Because I had to go him a few times, Avi. I know it's not his it's part of his game and all that type of stuff, but still, just a little bit more. I still expect Jota to give us a bit more in that phase of play in terms of hold up play.
Asim, Big Ibu, and Ryan Gravenberch, I really enjoyed the interview on Sky Sports yesterday. I think it showed me that Gravenberch actually knows that he belongs at this football club now. Last season, he did come across like a shy character, even off camera when they would do that the material that they do on LFC TV. He just came across like a shy character, but he looks as if he belongs at this football club. That he's more relaxed. That he knows what the club's about. He knows the players. He's made relationships. That interview yesterday with Ibu was absolutely boss. But I do want to come to Ibu first. A bit of a Jekyll Hyde performance. I thought first half he was totally fine. Gets the header.
Yeah.
Second half, I tweeted it. Second half, it was a bit of a hot mess. But again, right at the end, when Forbes who goes on the right of Trent, takes a shot, and then Konate is there with a ditch tackle. Absolutely brilliant. Very indifferent Konate second half, but he's scoring a lot more goals from set pieces. That's what we need, isn't it?
I was just laughing at the fact that you mentioned Gravenberch and Gene legged it off camera. So,
listen, man, there's someone here that were giving Gravenberch wanted him sold, yeah? Not me. Obviously, so many people on here. I'm
Who-
bloody
who
confident.
is it?
I'll just speak about Gravenberch all day long. It was
You can
Avi.
go on my pin tweet. Go on my pin tweet right now and it'll tell you what I thought of
Oh, yeah,
Gravenberch
he's got basically
7-8
Asim,
months ago. Okay, please.
Asim, this guy's got a tweet for every single player, good and bad. When it's good, I told you. When it's bad, I told you.
They're on
This
two
is what
files.
Avi
Bookmark.
does. This
I've
is
got a
standard
good. I've
Avi,
got a
man.
good bookmark
This is
and I've
what
got a
it
bad
is.
bookmark.
Today
I've
he's
got a
mentioned
bad bookmark and a good bookmark.
1 second, Asim. He's mentioned every single player from La Masia. Yeah, I saw a tweet today. He's mentioned every single player of La Masia. This guy's gonna be the next hit. This guy's gonna be the next hit. Yeah.
If they all,
But who these
if they,
players are, I've
if they
never
all
heard
been
of them.
successes, do you know? If they've all been successes, it's not my fault, is
No,
it?
we only hear about your
I've got a
successes.
good eye talent. I've got a good eye talent.
No, you don't have an eye talent. You said to me, Florian Niehaus has signed, and the money was in his bank account.
I didn't say he was a good player, though, did I?
You
That's
did say he was a good player. You were in love with him.
You need to differentiate between my ITK, the eye for
Florian
the ITK
Niehaus,
stuff, and
money.
the eye
No, he
for
goes, Asim. I
the
don't know if you know,
scouting
but
stuff.
Asim, he told me Florian Niehaus's money is
Yeah.
in
Florian
Gladbach's
Neuhaus.
bank
It's
account.
Florian Neuhaus.
Whatever he's called,
Sorry,
yeah.
what happened?
Florian Niehaus or Now House, whatever Avi wants to call him. Money's in their bank account. Can you believe that? And me being a
I was
tit
trained.
at that time, yeah.
When I first entered the content creating game, I was trained by one of the best. Okay, so obviously I'm going to copy the best as well, isn't I?
Avi, who do Liverpool bank with?
Huh?
Who do
Standard
Liverpool
Chartered,
bank with?
isn't it? Standard Chartered.
You're going right.
I think Ibu. Talk to me about Ibu. He's been brilliant since the Ipswich game. Come in monstrous, but that first half he was fine. Gets the goal. I think he needs to do what Gabriel does for Arsenal because he can be that man. He's such a him and Van Dijk as well. I think they can chip in a lot more from set pieces. But that second half, his passing, everything had sort of failed him, which he's done so well with in the early parts of the season. His passing picked out Luis Diaz last week. But that second half, oh my God, it was a Jekyll and Hyde performance for me.
I think you have to give credit to Wolves because they were basically saying to Liverpool, you're not going to progress the ball through the middle of the pitch. If we have to force you wide, then so be it. That's what generally teams do. But Liverpool are adamant if they lose the ball, they want to lose it in the center of the pitch because that's where they've got the bodies to pile on the counter press. But excuse me, I was touching on it earlier, Avi, that when Liverpool put Trent into not the first phase of play, but put him into those right half spaces, right side of midfield roles, where he's just lurking in that weird area, but he's not involved in not the conventional right back positions. The onus, especially in the halfway line, is on Konate to progress the ball and break the lines. And to be fair to him, yes, you're right. He has been a lot better at that. He's been carrying it around the block down this sort of Matip type of runs. But that's not his strength. That's not his strength, if we're all honest. But he knows, especially to keep Kwanzaa out of the team. He's going to keep Kwanzaa out of the team because of his dueling and his 1v1 ability, his aerial ability, and his general possession presence, and especially how he covers that space between centre-back and right-back. But when we're dominating the game, and especially against low blocks, and teams like Wolves yesterday that were prepared for us to have the ball in the first phase, and as soon as we came 15, 20 yards further up the field, and then they went, Konate at times we're going to see, and it's not the first time, I hope I'm wrong, I think it's not the first time that we're going to see Konate struggle to progress and break the lines, especially in a compact midfield where they were really touch tight on Gravenberch and really touch tight. Their double pivot was touch tight on our 210s as well. So I think that's why we've been having the likes of Trent in a 4-1 build-up to give us that defensive stability, but also the sort of skill and the ability of Trent to progress the ball from those positions. But we weren't progressing the ball, and we were launching it, we weren't holding it. First 15, 20 minutes, I can't remember Liverpool stringing 5-6 passes together. So we were struggling to progress the ball through the centre of the pitch. But his general performance and his blocks, that will always be there, even on a bad day, because when we do lose the ball in floppy fashion, like yesterday, Ibu's recovery pace and recovering ability, like we saw yesterday, is second to none.
Was that mix up his fault, Jim?
Oh, of course.
100% of him, man. It was a bit of a weird one because he was having a really good game up until then. Obviously, you mentioned I had to go at Sarib saying this is Ibu over Saliba, and 5 minutes later, Brody makes that mistake.
Commentator's curse, isn't it?
Commentator's curse, man. I'm like flipping, and Sarib's gonna come for me now. Yeah, and lo and behold, he did. Right? But you look on the fair, it was his mistake. He obviously misread it. He should have done a lot better. He expected Ali to come out, and he didn't. But it wasn't on Ali. At the end of the day, is to defend. If you're going to shield the ball, you have to make sure you shield the player. That is the most important thing. Forget goalkeeper coming or not. Shield the ball. And he didn't do that. And I felt like he wasn't as strong. I know he came from the side, but Ibu, generally speaking, is a strong guy. He should have been able to shield it, but he didn't. They got that goal. And then he did have 10-minute spell where he wasn't that great. He lost the ball a few times, but he fought back, and that was really important. We've seen players, the likes of Joe Gomez, I'll just mention the name, Joe Gomez, where whenever he's made a mistake, you could see that in the rest of the game, that mistake is on his head. We saw Ibo put in 2 amazing blocks, and one of them, when he made that block, you saw his reaction. He went up to Ali, they did that chest-to-chest thing, and it was like he saved. That was like he scored a goal sort of thing. It was a celebration, and I like that. The confidence was back in Ibo, and look, there are going to be mistakes this season whether it's Ibu, Van Dijk, Alisson, whoever they are. There are going to be mistakes where we cost a goal here and there. It's going to happen. The important thing is that we get up and we put it away, and we did that. We got, as soon as they scored, 5 minutes later, 3 or 4 minutes later, we managed to get the penalty straight away, and we went 2-1 up. That's the key. Is whenever we have to be able to overcome adversity at any time, and this Liverpool team showed that yesterday. And look, Ibu's Ibu. He starts if he's fit, he starts every game. But again, you have to manage Ibu as well. I know Szoboszlai, I know Salah and Ibu. These 3 are probably and Jota as well to an extent. The rest of them we can get away with. I think the rest of them are okay to play as many games because they hardly get injured. But these 3 now, we know Jota gets injured. We know Ibu gets injured. More so these 2 than Salah. But Salah's at that age now where we have an ample replacement. We have to manage their minutes.
I mean, I'm surprised the amount of people that are saying it's Alisson's fault.
I think the way he was shielding the ball and the space between the ball and Konate's body was, I think he anticipated Alisson to come off his traps and getting the ball. Maybe that's an understanding they've had in training and whatnot, but the space was so much that the ball wasn't going to roll over the line. If he was waiting for the ball to go over the line for a goal kick, that wasn't going to happen either. So I think there's a bit of a mix-up. On the whole, I do think Konate usually shields that away 9 times out of 10, doesn't he? I do want to come on to another thing, Asim. I've been known to be a bit of a hip flexor on the dance floor. You obviously love players with the mobility in their hips. Thiago being one of the geniuses at it when he can turn. But your little threads, I'm seeing this word hips. Gravenberch, talk to me.
What about my words and what about my threads?
He had another word for him today. Asim, I'm sure. Was there another word? Oh, no, that was Ibu today. You had a new word for.
No, he had another word as well for Gravenberch today as well.
Gravenberch, some mechanism.
He's actually paying the subscription for the additional chat GPT. It gives you even more fancy words than the free version. But he's used another word today. But I do want you want to tell, because I know you've used it on Rio as well. The lad that we got from Chelsea, the way he's quick with his hips. Explain it for the people like me, the dummies that are getting into football terms and all these little fancy terms. Describe Gravenberch, because there was a term there yesterday which you obviously did a GIF on. The one that he turns into the box, Gravenberch yesterday.
Yeah, the weight transfer mechanism.
There you go.
Look, that is. Look, I know it's fancy, and you try to look clever, but in simple terms, he has got the orientation, the hip orientation that he can go either way. That's why I believe when we didn't sign Zubomendi, and he chose Gravenberch. We had this conversation with Jake as well. He wanted Szoboszlai to play that pivot role, and I said, look, when you play that double pivot role and you don't have a natural 6, then you have to pick a few traits from one player, then a few traits from another player, because we don't have a Rodri. He's the ultimate benchmark, isn't he? But when you've got And the only reason why I didn't want him to be in that position, and Slot has admitted it as well, that he's been surprised by his work off the ball. And I don't mean by those intensity runs and his space-eating ability, his spatial awareness, when to go, interceptions. And this is the reason why his stats are showing, a really, really high quality. And because he's reading the game really well. But just to go back in terms of his orientation, it helps him at the edge of the box if he's really high and in number 10 positions, and we really pinned the opposition, where he can go and drop a shoulder and drop, shimmy and feint, slow down the defender, go one way, and within a split second go the other way and break into the box, like we saw that little clip I put on Twitter. But when he's receiving the ball from defenders, he can drop a shoulder, he can touch and move in one motion, just like Pogba used to do as well. On many occasions, Yaya Toure used to do it, and he's got the ability to put his studs on the ball as well and shield it and then move and freeze defenders. So he's got every asset that you want to have in a player on the ball, and this is the main reason I think Arne Slot has gone with him. He's not the volume passer, the Zubimendi type of number 6. He's not probably the circulator as well, but he's instilled a lot of discipline into his game. But just to sort of summarize that mechanism, that he can shift direction any time. And that's why, how many times have you seen him just go and circulate the ball, shield the ball, because he's got that looseness in his hips. And if you've got looseness and the long legs, it'll help you off the ball and on the ball.
Looseness, regulator, circulator. Gine, he's probably player of the season so far this season.
Basically, he's got a good balance, Avi. Yeah, he can go both ways. He can receive the ball in any position. He can go either way. And you know what? He's a very, very good footballer. He can beat a man. He's very, very press resistant, and he can beat and go forward. That's all he had to say. Anyway, Avi, I'll be honest.
I think Asim's going to be a big boy very soon. Okay.
Easy.
We're talking about Sky Sports.
Enjoy your
ESPN. He's gonna be the second marking of another person that we know. But anyway, Gravenberch.
I won't forget you boys.
Ryan Gravenberch, player of the season, surely.
100%. There's no doubt. Who's Liverpool's player of the season so far? We're talking.
I'm talking on the whole of the Premier League.
Yeah, 100%. Look, you're talking 4 to 5 man of the watch awards since this season in the games that he's played. And as you know what the biggest thing with him is his consistency now. This was the biggest thing with him. We wanted to see if he's good enough. He's putting man of the match performances every single week for Liverpool. It's easy for us to say that, he's doing this. We're taking it for granted in a way, that the performances that he's actually putting up. Because no midfielder comes into a Liverpool side with the players that we've got and puts up 4 or 5 man of the match performances in 6 or 7 games. That doesn't happen. And this player has come in and done exactly that. So we have to rave about Gravenberch, the way he's played. Why I rave about him, Asim and Avi, is not because of what he does on the ball. We always knew he was good enough to play off. For flip's sake, Ali, he was. Look, it's not what he's do on the ball. It's more what I've seen of him off the ball. There were some stats that I saw on Twitter. He mentioned it was 4th for interceptions this season in the league, 5th for defensive duels, defensive action. Sorry, 5th for duels won. They're really, really good defensive stats for a player that's just playing this position. It's actually unbelievable what he's done for us whilst in this new position. And we have to give a load of credit to him, a load of credit to Slot, and a load of credit for me for saying that I didn't want to sell him.
Avi, do we go with him now? Do you think? I want you to be in the shoes of Arne Slot come January. Do we go for someone like Zubimendi, or do we stick with Gravenberch and say he's my number 6 now, and we bring someone else, something different? Maybe Endo leaves, I don't know, and we have a different type of 6, or a better understudy to Gravenberch. With all due respect to Endo.
See, I think we've got to redefine what 6 means for Liverpool Football Club compared to what 6 means for the likes of a Manchester United or a Chelsea or a City or whatnot. I think we need a little bit more. That's why this was a great profile. Carlos Baleba, I said if Zubimendi wasn't attainable, Carlos Baleba would be the next one. He scored yesterday as well. He scored yesterday as well, didn't he? He's had a fine start to the season. For me, Asim, I still think that we've got to pursue a jeweler, a ball controller, a possession-based player for that 6. Alongside having Gravenberch as well. Gravenberch has had a great start to the season, but I think Gravenberch will also have a little bit of a dip as well. I think it is a lot of games, and all of a sudden him playing on the Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Saturday again, that will take its toll. It will take its toll on McAllister as well. So we still definitely need depth. I think that's what we need. We definitely need another midfielder in that mode that can come in and play in the deep pivot with either alongside a McAllister or alongside Gravenberch, 100%. And Zubimendi obviously fits that profile. If Slot's words are to be taken as gospel to say that we moved on, then Carlos Baleba is another one. But Brighton, obviously, we know how they
have you seen much of him, Avi?
Carlos Baleba? Yeah. Not last season, but the season before last, he put in a clinic at Anfield for 65, 70 minutes in the 2-2 draw. Absolutely brilliant.
To be fair to Avi, look, I know I give this
Sorry,
guy a load of shit. I know I give him a load of shit. I know I give him a load of shit. Yeah. Look, he's loving it now. I gave the guy a lot of shit, but he has been going. This is another one that he's always. He even said we should go for Baleba. I remember last Jan. Do you remember January, Avi? You said go and get Baleba. Go and get Baleba. So I know he gives, but he says go and get every player. So let's caveat that with that. But he's a big fan of him.
This season, because I do like watching Brighton, especially the manager, because he's got a bit of American in him as well. He's like 31, 32 years old.
He needs to sort the high line out.
Born in America, but I like Baleba on the ball. He's got loads of quality. And look, Caicedo we went all up in arms when we had our bid accepted a couple of seasons ago. I think Baleba will be better than Caicedo. I think Dean Regan says he's still very raw. I agree, but this season I've seen him being more productive with the ball. So he's definitely one that we've got to keep an eye on. Zubimendi. Look, I like Pablo Barrios of Atletico Madrid. He's another one for next summer, maybe. But yeah, look, I still think we're profiling that position as we'll definitely be getting a midfielder in the coming months or even next summer again. I do think we need to pull the trigger in January, though. I think if we really are going to make a fist of this title challenge and Champions League,
we need to get to January 1st, though, Avi. Look, we have to enjoy the performances so far. We're top of the league. We've got a really, really tough run of games coming up over the next, especially over the next 2 months. If we can be thereabouts, come towards it, even December, I think, because I think our December games are slightly better than our, say, City and Arsenal. If we can get to that point and where thereabouts as we are right now, then there's no reason why we definitely should strengthen in Jan, and then we can really go for it.
I think we could be pushing for 2 signings in January.
Yeah, and it comes back to what Gene just said. If we're touching distance of Arsenal or Man City in January, I think it'll be criminal if we don't actually buy. It would really piss me off.
You've been saying it's criminal for the last couple of seasons.
No, but it would actually really be criminal if we do go out there and break the bank and pay that premium in January.
We say this every year
to get a top player in.
We say this every year, and that's the simple truth. Every year we say the same thing. We should have done this. Criminal, this, that. And Avi's Chacha's this and Avi's Chacha's that, but Avi's Chacha doesn't pull the money out. And then Avi's here every other summer to defend him. He'll have one show where he'll have a go at him just to make it sure that, you know what, I'm not against him. But every other tweet will be about my Chacha's this and about Linda's liked my tweet.
Look, there's obviously something in there. If Zubimendi hasn't signed a contract for Sociedad, who are in the bottom 5, I think, of the Liga. If he hasn't signed a contract yet for Sociedad, there might still be a play there in January. We don't know.
What did you think? What did you make of him in the game?
For me, look, he's a good player, but I don't think we've ever been linked with him. I don't think there's ever been any real.
No, I'm just generally. But do you think he's good enough to play for Liverpool, Asim? I liked him yesterday, man. I thought he had a good, decent game.
He's not the profile. He's not the profile of player that I want to be playing there. I think he's a good player.
Do you like Kirkes?
I was impressed with Kirkes, Strong legs, strong upper body. I was really impressed with him.
He reminds you of a good Shaw. He reminds me of Shaw.
That's actually a good shout, Gene. That's a good shout.
My shout's always good.
No, that's a good shout, though. If Shaw stays
Shaw was good enough to play in a 3. Yeah, Shaw was good, and
Nuri
I
is a
think
good.
Kirk could play
Nuri,
better than the 3.
Nuri is a good player. And to be fair to him, he's more of a left back / wing back.
Yeah, he's not a 3.
He's not a 3. And the way that Slot has been playing Robertson, at times, if we can't really create overloads, he has been letting Robertson go, which will suit. Oh, sure. He's Ronaldo, judging by his Tuesday night performances. But yeah, I would like to go for someone like Lukeba. But I had an interesting conversation yesterday with an Arsenal fan who does know his football, Abby, and he said in time, whether it's in a year or two, he thinks Arne Slot will replace Konate because he's not good enough on the ball.
But he's improved though. He's improved this season. I think it's with anybody, isn't it? I mean, Van Dijk will need it replacing in a year or year and a half's time. You know.
I disagree.
Joe, man, you ain't getting into the Konate, man.
I disagreed.
Getting cloud cuckoo, man.
What's
if you
that?
think he's going to replace.
I disagree with the Konate.
The argument can be that he's not good. He's injury prone. Yeah, I can accept that. But to say you're going to lose a player of somebody like Konate because you think he's not good enough, you're in cloud cuckoo, mate.
When people were shouting about Lenny Euro, I was one of the first ones to say Jarell Hato at Ajax is the one. If we really want that left back / this guy, Asim, profile this guy, Asim. I want you to profile him. He's your ideal. He's your ideal. That /3 or a 4 and conventional as well when he needs to. I think he's the best talent out there right now in world football when it comes to that kind of position. Left back.
Him or Lukeba, Ravi?
Oh, Hato. And I rate Lukeba. I rate Carlos Lukeba, but Hato is the one. 18 years old. Frightening. He's frightening.
Again, I've not seen him play much more. I'm sorry. Maybe in the international break, I can profile these sort of players. Hato's going to be top of my list, though. But I want someone like Diamande.
Of Sporting.
The right hand side.
That Sporting team is interesting.
Huh?
I think as during international break, I think there's 2 things you should do. There's one, you should definitely do a profile on Jarell Hato. I think you should do a profile on Sporting Lisbon. They set up. I think you would love that movement. I'm like, if you watch them a little bit more regularly away from YouTube, watch 90 minutes of them. I think you'll fall in love with.
It's pure positional play. When we were linked with him, I did watch a few bits of Sporting Lisbon. He's another good shout, Avi. If you want a proper 10.
Oh, bro, that's like was dreaming. Even me and Avi will both be jumping dancing if we signed it. Florian Wirtz.
We're talking.
I spoke about Florian Wirtz to Avi 3 years ago. Ask him.
I didn't even know you 3 years ago.
There you go. Now you can't take it. Now he's going to say I mentioned. Now he's going to pull out tweet 6 years ago.
I can never take credit for Florian Wirtz. You know why? Kieran Thorne, big up. He was banging on about him on the.
I mentioned ages ago. I wanted him, Avik. Honestly,
he was banging on about
injury, man.
In 2018-19, he was banging on about Florian Wirtz, and he was 15, 16, I think. He saw him in some under 15 international tournament. He said, "Boys, Florian Wirtz, don't know which club he plays for in Germany. He's going to be the one." So Kieran Thorne, but yeah, I think you might have liked him here.
What a player! He's the perfect player, man. Him or Jamal Musiala.
Money, isn't it? You know, Asim, do you think Danny Olmo would have been a great buy for us?
Yeah, wicked buy, mate.
In that position.
Which position?
Where Szoboszlai occupying it.
Yeah, I saw bits of him, but he was playing really central, wasn't he? And then I think I tweeted about him, saying, "Can he play the false 9?" But again, look, I'm not gonna make. I don't watch a lot of Olmo. I'm sorry.
I think he's a complete footballer. A complete footballer.
Well, what I saw in the Euros and bits of Euros, I really liked him because I felt like he's a real connector and a guy's he had that nous to go into the box and get a goal as well. But look, I'm gonna hold my hands up. But I don't have time to watch a lot more football than Liverpool. If we're linked with the player, then I start watching him a bit. But I get told about Liverpool's players who they're scouting, and then I'll start watching him a bit on YouTube. But I don't watch a lot of football bar Liverpool and the Premier League. Who else is there? We got a super chat. Let's go to that first. Yo, what's good? Thank you very much. Big up for the super chat. He says, I think Zubi is still our DM priority, and I doubt he would trigger his buyout clause mid-season. I think long-term we sign a 10 and replace Konate too. So it's not an unpopular opinion. We've had a super chat today, and straight away he thinks Konate is going to get replaced. Oh, such a massive player in the Liverpool side.
He's what, 20, 25?
25 must be, yeah.
Rudiger's 32, 33 at Real Madrid. 32, 33?
Who is Rudiger?
Rudiger.
Yeah, he must be 32, 33.
Konate can play for the best alongside Militao in that Real Madrid team. Never know. You never know.
We ain't selling Konate.
Huh?
We ain't selling Konate.
Channel defender. Channel OC. Away from Liverpool, I think we've man of the match yesterday, team.
Ryan Gravenberch.
Asim.
Yeah. I think if it wasn't for Konate's mistake, you could make a case for Konate. But I think because of that, you had to give it to Ryan Gravenberch. I think he was one of the sort of outstanding performers on that pitch yesterday, honestly. It was a joy to watch him. There was one little instance, I don't think he didn't get the headlines, where Andre pressed him, I think around about the 70th, 80th minute, where he dropped his shoulder and flicked it with his right foot and ran into space. And I thought, you know what, that's the reason why we didn't buy Andre. We kept Ryan Gravenberch in that role. But to be fair to Andre, I thought he had a half decent game. He
tidy, very tidy.
Very tidy on the ball, and he made some progressive breaking line passes. I thought, okay, not bad, but Ryan Gravenberch, honestly, it was a joy to watch yesterday.
Gravenberch for me, all three. I was thinking, just a quick one on someone mentioned it on their channel. Big up Saeed, by the way. He said Eric Ten Haram because his new name is Eric Ten Haram.
Yeah,
surely now, Asim, Gene, whoever wants to take it first. Surely it's curtains for.
No. We pray that he wins the next game.
Oh, yeah, we pray for a lot.
We need him to stay, man. We need him to stay. Honestly, this is a United at a comedy show, and there's no better feeling than watching them lose. Look, it's always a perfect weekend when Liverpool, when Scum lose. Obviously, it's even better when City lose as well. And look, more goes Southgate in. If they get Southgate again, I'll be over the moon. Look, they're just shit, and we really showed their level. This season, we should have shown their level last season. They've got a shit manager. The players that are bought in haven't hit the ground running. We just need Ten Hag to stay as long as possible. It's been a really, really good weekend for Liverpool, Avi. Them teams drop points. We're top of the table. That's 2 good weeks for Liverpool. We just need to make sure we carry on. But honestly, United are a comedy show. And I love it, mate.
I think it's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Because Joshua Zirkzee, Ugarte, De Ligt, Onana, Martinez, Anthony, players that he knew of already. Maybe not so much Ugarte, but majority of those players have come in from Ajax.
Yeah.
It's his team now, isn't it? Ten Hag's team, but it's a bit of a conundrum because if they get rid of him now, the new manager, I think they might go with Thomas Tuchel. He'll come in and he'll want to rewrite his own script and his own blueprint on that team as well. Where does the buck stop with United?
I think now they're stuck with Ten Hag, as in they decided that there's no one out there to replace him. After 4 or 5 weeks, you're replacing him. And these guys, the likes of Dean Ashton and that ex-City guy and Jason Wilcox from ex-Southampton days, these guys came football people. They will look stupid, Avi, if they sack him now. I don't want them to sack him. A lot of people are saying Southgate in, especially with the Dean Ashton. It's Dean Ashton, isn't it? The guy who came from Newcastle.
Yeah, Dean Ashworth.
Dean Ashworth. Yeah, Dean Ashton was a Norwich striker, wasn't he?
West Ham, yeah, Dean Ashton, yeah.
Rami striker, he's got a goal.
He got that. He didn't
in the FA Cup, didn't he? Yeah. So, Dean Ashworth. So I think they look stupid, Avi. I don't think, and they have to be very careful with Tuchel. Tuchel wants done. Damn.
Yes, mate, I'm a
Damn.
football man is shit at times about other clubs.
Yeah, come on.
I leave my burner anyway. Don't worry.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I got his first part, his first name right. But I don't think they're gonna sack him. And Tuchel, he's a bit of a funny character. Is he gonna get on with those 3-4 guys upstairs?
That's the thing.
He's that kind
Tuchel,
of guy.
Pulijo, Van Nistelrooy is taking over if he goes.
I think that'll be
Van
the safe
Nistelrooy will
option,
get
isn't
the
it? After the
job.
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be safe.
I did say Van Nistelrooy by January, but it might be earlier. Might be earlier.
I think
It's good though, I mean, watching them gits.
Oh, it's
yeah,
it's
it's the best feeling ever when Liverpool win and them scums lose, man. It's a good
they're
feeling.
getting beaten as well at home. They're getting
Eh?
outplayed. They were getting outplayed with 11 versus 11. That's sending off. That's
Shit.
sending
They've
off.
been shit for years. We just made them look good, man. At times, that's all it was.
But anyway, that's what I wanted to speak. Arsenal obviously got the late winner yesterday. I thought they were going to hold on today, Leicester, but obviously Asim did text saying that now these kids are going to get a winner. And they did. City drew 1-1.
They always find a way, Avi, innit? Remember, they always find a way. Someone said in our group. But if Liverpool do it, always shit. But you know
They're
what? it is
conceding
what it is.
goals though. They're getting a bit leaky.
Yeah,
at
best defense in the league,
defense.
man. Best defense in the league, Avi, bro.
Let's be kind to Sarib.
I'm kind. I'm speaking facts.
Anything else to cover, Asim?
No. What we do this week?
Bologna
again.
matches on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So probably a post match, if not a match. We'll definitely do a match preview. Maybe a preview.
I can do
Definitely a post
preview. I
match.
can't. Yeah.
Me and Gene possibly back tomorrow actually.
Yeah, we said
maybe-
tomorrow, innit? We'll do it
Oh,
tomorrow.
Maybe
the tip and sheen.
Maybe
Oh,
in a quick
that's
shift tomorrow talk about the weekend's football, talk a bit more on Liverpool. Looking forward to a bit of Bologna, and then obviously post match Bologna. Then we'll do another chip and sheen on Friday, and then Saturdays. You boys coming down for that?
Oh no, I'm staying at home for that one. 12:30 on a Saturday, no chance.
Gina?
Don't know yet. I feel
Gina
like
कोई नहीं
going, 'cause
पता.
I
Gina
missed the
might
Wolves
get-
game, innit? So I can't. I'm thinking about going because I'm going PK in a couple of weeks. So I might as well get the games in now.
Make sure you sort your Wi-Fi out now and you're in your village and PK as well. 'Cause you'll be too close to- they don't think
Live from Liverpool.
2-3
Yeah.
And 1 week out. 1 week is a wedding week, yeah. So that's out. Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the second week I'm alright.
No problem. I thought he was brilliant. You know what? In hindsight, he is a good player.
He's
That
good.
run today, it's direct. He's so quick as well.
He can cover some space, man.
I do
I
like
think-
him.
I think he'd even, if he wasn't playing in this system, he'd be even better. He's just playing in a system that is he's just a nutcase Postecoglou at times. But if he was playing in a slightly defensive shape as him, I think he'd be unbelievable.
I
I want to
think
shout out.
he's got a brain fart in him, but he's very
Huh?
quick. I think he's got a brain fart in him.
Yeah, look, this you will, but he's very, very good.
Yeah,
Slightly
decent,
underrated, I think.
I
decent.
want to shout out Brennan Johnson as well for Spurs. Got a lot of shit prior to the last 4 games where he scored.
Have we become a Spurs channel all of a sudden? Yeah?
No, I don't want to give him shit because he got a lot of stick, personal abuse. He went off his socials and he's come back 4 games, 4 goals, and he's giving it back to his own fans. So big up Brennan Johnson. His dad was a good player as well, David Johnson for Ipswich.
Yep.
Scored
remember
goals in Division 1 Championship. He was a good little player, David Johnson. But guys, this has been Born and Red. Make sure you guys have liked and subscribed. A good 1 hour, 20-minute show today. Make sure you give our sponsors. Make sure you go and visit our sponsors, www.schnuckelig.com. That's schnuckelig.com on the banner at the bottom. And if you like any stuff, I'm sure you will. Please go and use the BNR code, which is BNR10 on the discount code for 10% off. So please go and give them a look, please. Guys, that's a wrap then. Born and Red, make sure you like and subscribe. Sarib will be back this week as well. We'll give him a bit of banter.
He just
And,
peed off at top of the league.
He's peed off because we're talking.
I need to have a little dig at him here and there.
No, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's only fair.
He's not here.
It's
man.
only fair when he's on the
I'm
table.
gonna laugh with him. I said laugh, man. I'm allowed to have a laugh with him. He knows, man.
All right, brilliant. Guys, Born and Red, over and out. Nice one.
Take care, guys.